Welcome to Coffee with a Journalist, brought to you by the team at One Pitch. Are you looking for a more efficient way to find and pitch the right journalists? Head over to our website at onepitch.co to learn more. Today, we're joined by Jill Manoff, Editor-in-Chief of Glossy and Modern Retail. She shares how to pitch stories that stand out, why data matters, and her secret to Inbox Zero. We also dive into how she navigates the evolving media landscape, the value of conferences, and her take on publicist relationships. If you work in beauty, fashion, or retail, or just want to peek inside an editor's mind, this one's for you. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with a Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we do this lovely show to better understand how to work with our journalists and our editors and our reporters, freelancers, etc. Because as publicists, we need to know how to have better relationships with the media to get our jobs done. Everyone's job, by the way. And with us today, this is very fun, everybody. I'm quite excited, is Jill Manoff. She is the editor-in-chief at Glossy and Modern Retail. So if you are in the beauty space at all, or you like fashion, you are looking at retail as a business line, an industry, this is probably your person to be chatting with, right, Jill?
Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here. Yes.
I'm so happy you are here. Give us just an overview, if you will. I like to have just straight from the horse's mouth on what does Glossy now encompass, and then Modern Retail, and maybe like the relationship between two, so people can understand that.
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you the first notes high level. But we're both under the Digiday Media umbrella. Glossy launched about 9 years ago. It spun off of Digiday Media's retail coverage. Saw the opportunity that was happening with fashion. It was definitely a space that was moving fast, disrupting in terms of the strategies that they were embracing, the industry was embracing. It started as fashion, luxury, and technology being the focus. Later on, we added beauty to the mix, which really took off. And now that's of our traffic, of our content, all the things. So yes, we cover the evolution of fashion and beauty, also wellness, with a focus, with a lens, a tech digital lens, kind of where things are going in that direction. On the modern retail side, also kind of spun off of other coverage. Glossy doesn't cover the
retailers.
Right.
It's really more the B2B.
Yeah, it's more
the enterprise. Yeah.
Retail, in terms of we cover Amazon, we cover Walmart, marketplaces, things that Glossy doesn't touch. And it's been booming. Our Amazon and Walmart coverage in particular has been doing great. But about that editorial team, we've got dedicated events and podcasts, and just really this engaged and loyal insider audience from the industry. So yeah, both B2B publications, and both do similar content in terms of we look at the evolution of the space and some emerging strategies that others in the space can kind of latch onto and get inspired by in terms of their day-to-day.
And just so other people kind of get this too, the other two platforms under the Digiday Media is Digiday, which is media marketing people, and then Work Life, which is our workplace, modern workplace, how we work, all that good stuff. So
yes, it's our newest publication. And from time to time, we'll share stories because, some stories apply to more than one publication. So it works out great.
So how's your inbox, Jill?
Well, I'm a zero red kind of a girl.
Me too.
I don't understand when people tell me they have thousands. I'm like, get it together.
I do not understand that personally, but
I need it, but we've got our little processes. We know the ones that we open and the ones that we don't, and the ones that we feel the need to respond to, and the ones that we don't. So, I mean, I've got a little system happening, but I'm very clean inbox girl, even though I'm not I am saving everything, but everything is red. So I don't purge.
Yeah, so that's me too. I have, hundreds of thousands of emails at this point. Exactly. So the question on that though is, do you then search your inbox as your own personal Google file?
Yes. Usually when I'm looking for a specific contact who works with this brand, somebody that I need to get in touch with, yes, I do.
Yes. And what, by the way, can you give us an example of a search? Because this has come up on this show a number of times of how do you make your pitches, let's say, the most searchable, so that when a journalist is reviewing or trying to find that source again, that you're not being missed because you didn't include oh, MD in skincare slash dermatology, something like that where it just gives it a little bit more juice. How would you say?
Honestly, I mean, the latest example is just top of mind, and it's probably very obvious, is just to put the brand at the start of the subject line, the brand that you're representing, the brand that you're pitching. Like for instance, one of my reporters just asked in our shared channel, who works with Beauty Counter now? Who's talked to Beauty Counter? So I
Mm,
just searched Beauty Counter. I didn't have a current contact since they
yeah.
just changed representatives, but that's what I was looking for. I was just looking for down the subject lines of for Beauty Counter. I saw it in a couple like within some emails, and it was just I don't know, so other people mentioning it, but it definitely wasn't the PR person or contact I
Ah,
was looking for.
okay. I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Speaking of subject lines, we talked a little bit before we started hitting recording. How important is the subject line for you to assess? Do I need to respond to this or not?
Yes, I would say the subject line tells me if I should or should not open it. It tells me
Yeah.
usually it has our thing is it's tough. We actually just had a working group between both Glossy and Modern Retail today, and it was about how to use your inbox to your advantage. So it very much applies to
Really?
question because we're very as an editor. I like to say, get your stories from conversations
Yes.
up on what people are telling you that maybe they don't want to like blast out there to all of their contacts, but they told you a juicy bit, and that's the story
Hmm.
we're going to tell. Nobody else is going to have that story. We were also talking about the fact that these AI summaries, synopses in
Yeah.
Google searches are really making things difficult. We don't want the same story that everyone's telling because it's going to show up and you're just going to get lost in the mix. We want something compelling, something original, maintain our original reporting and stories. And so, yes, I don't love the idea of just grabbing a pitch story and running. So we're like,
Mm,
how do we use our inbox besides just
mm,
and which of those pitches do we take? So it's
mm.
like we talked a lot about some of these tricks and
Yes.
I guess some spins that we hear
Yeah.
from PR people where it's like,
Tell us.
it's first stab at the story, and it's like people don't consume content like that. Like it's not necessarily advantageous to us as a subscription-based publication. Content worth paying for is what I always say. If another publication has the same exact story 30 minutes later, like a reporter to spend 8 hours or a full day writing a story that
Mm,
someone else is going to have the exact same information,
yeah.
like
Why
what
would
does
I
that
have that?
us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot
Yeah.
of conversation about like maybe not like don't maybe get fooled just because we have it first. How valuable is that? Maybe
Mm,
just because like an exclusive interview, like again, people are just like people we're reading the subject lines of a pitch. People are reading the subject or the titles of a story. They're not necessarily going, well, did they talk directly to Beauty Counter?
exactly.
Not people that's not how people consume content. So it's like, what are these special access privileges that we're getting via these pitches and how valuable actually are they? Usually if the pitches
Mm,
that we're looking at and that we're excited about are with one of these, sometimes a publicly traded company, usually a very inspiring company, somebody who's maybe a disruptor in the space or just top company in terms of revenue. We want to talk to those guys because those are the companies that our readers are inspired by and want to hear from.
mm,
And so if it is I would just say maybe we don't take the pitch story like maybe we just say well, I think that it's probably going to be a popular story across our public competitors' publications.
yeah.
However, I would love to speak to the chief marketing officer at Gap. Yes, it sounds like a great interview opportunity. Would love to hear what you guys are working on, and so just use that as
Mm,
to connect with some of these people because
mm,
um, obviously we could end up writing about what they're excited about, but we could also make it a more robust story or write about something different altogether.
mhm. Ooh, I feel like you took us right into, like, the staff meeting that we never yet to get into, so thank you for that. Okay, you touched on it a second, the AI summaries, and we haven't really obviously, years ago, we were not talking about this on this podcast, but how are you all, especially as an editor, thinking about what is now, not SEO, but AEO, like a answer engine optimization and so forth? What's that looking like?
Yeah, I'm not really thinking about that, like, it's
Okay.
my goal to show up in the AI summary. It's
Yeah,
my goal to
yeah.
show up, basically ideally, we want that direct user who's coming to our site or who's signing up for our newsletter and going to our newsletter every morning. We're telling them things
Mhm.
that they don't know they want,
Yes.
like if they see it, our headline, they're like, it kind of
Ooh,
sparks, ooh, what's
yeah,
that about? So it's like
yeah.
it's not like it's clickbait, but I would say that it sparks interest and they want to learn more, but they don't necessarily know that they want to like search how is Target investing in physical retail this quarter or whatever. Like we definitely want to bring something to the table that they didn't know. So they want to just come to us as their ultimate source to be
Mhm.
better at their job and to learn what's new and emerging.
Yeah, what I'm really hearing is like, you're not the place for breaking news. This is not a breaking news game,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ideally, we'll come up with something or we'll hear something and say, wait, Haley Bieber is getting acquired. Road
Yes, yes, which just happened, yes.
story because we
So
just
there's
learned about
nothing
it
expected, yeah,
in conversation. But
yeah.
if the news is out there via a press release or somebody else, told the story, we won't necessarily pile onto that story. Sometimes, often, we actually say we'll do a day two story.
Oh,
That's an opportunity for us to talk to a bunch of analysts and a bunch of experts and maybe Haley Bieber, maybe Elf, the company that acquired
yes.
and get a more kind of full picture
Mm,
story about what's going on and what it means for the industry so we can have a more thoughtful story out there in terms of in
mm,
terms of the meaning, the implications for the industry, what it means for M&A, what it means for these celebrity founded brands, whatever the topic is.
mm,
That's kind of our take usually rather than just pile on.
okay, I like this. So, I think for the node there for publicists to know, it's just like, how do you do the second day? What's the second day pitch? And how
Yeah.
can we be part of that?
Totally, and we do get that from time to time,
Mm,
we did for this is, like, the biggest story in beauty for quite some time that, e.l.f. acquired Rhode for $1 billion, and so we do
yeah.
get, some pitches that say, "We have this ultimate expert in-house, they would love to talk to you more about, this news bit," and sometimes we'll take them up on it. If we
Oh,
are in the weeds already and having all these conversations, we may or may not, like, feature this source in a big way, but
mhm,
might say something
mm,
compelling that we didn't think about in terms of, implications. So, yeah,
mhm,
that's a
mhm,
good way to go.
mhm, okay. What about, Jill, for you as traffic control, I would imagine, because you will get pitches, and this is what we just heard from editors and editors in chiefs and so forth of like, okay, I'm not writing all the stories. Okay. I have to farm them out and I have to say, hey, writer, you maybe look at this or doing that. Is that a lot of your job, the traffic control?
Yeah, it kind of is, and yes, I don't have a ton of time to write myself, but I tell
Yeah.
you what, certain things I'm very passionate about, which menswear and certain luxury stories, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna
You're
take
going
the
to take
time."
that one.
So
You're like,
anyway,
I'm going to take that one. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So pitch me. But yes, I do see that, and I do see it as an opportunity to squash some of these things that I know that, like, if it goes to my reporter, they'll be like, "Should I write about this?" And
Yeah.
I'll be like, "No."
Yep.
But if a PR person will say, "Who's the best contact for this type of a pitch?" I'll just say, "Send it all to me." And I do look at everything that comes through.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll stop at the subject line, but I do give everything kind of a fighting chance and just send it to the reporter whose beat it aligns with for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, Menswear. What's with menswear? You just love
I
it?
am I don't know what it is. I geek out. I love the streetwear. Billy Reed and Todd Snyder and all these brands. Like they're so cool, the designers and the founders. I just love talking to them. They're so passionate. I'm not that women aren't, but it just makes me something about men being passionate about fashion. I listen to a podcast called Retail Therapy. Like
Yeah.
and they're two guys talking about fashion. I don't know what it is. I just love that.
Oh, just wanted to get on that. Okay. And then what about, for example, on your author page, this article you did, Why Gen Z is Spending a Lot of Time in Coach Stores. What made you do this one and how did this piece come about?
Yes, it's similar to how we think about, our cover anyway, this came about from an interview at an event. I think it was Shop
Uh-huh.
Talk and one of those big conferences. We do send some of our reporters to these events from time to time,
Mhm.
usually if they get a moderating opportunity. I moderated some sessions at Shop Talk. We always say we're not gonna write a story based on whatever the heck is happening on that stage that
Mhm.
everybody else is seeing and has access to. All the other reporters are watching the same conversation, but we do use those opportunities to set up tons of interviews. I almost like speed dating. Like I'm doing so many interviews with people
Oh,
who I reached
smart.
out to based on the fact that I know they're speaking there.
Yes.
It's shop talk. Everyone's there anyway. So I just reach out and say, if you're there, I would love to meet up. And I just talk about like current challenges, what's weighing on their mind, where they see opportunity, where they're investing new, like
Mm,
all these things that might spark a story idea. And I just so happened to have a meeting with a coach executive. I believe he is the head of creative and retail. I don't know his exact title. But yeah, he was just telling me they're doing all of these basically catering their stores to Gen Z in terms of customization opportunities, setting up like DJs, like they're making
yeah.
a hot spot and it's working. And he had all of this great data. PS, besides the big name company in the subject line, if you can share data in that subject line, like percent growth, it's reaching this amount of revenue. As a business publication, if a source is not going to be forthcoming with data and numbers, like we don't want that story, we're going to write it off immediately. You need to share numbers. We're a business publication. So he was very forthcoming, and it was very telling in terms of the success of this strategy. There was proof in the pudding, so that kind of stuff definitely is what we're looking for.
Okay. I like this. And fun, Jill, for you, I think is just the other to be like, yeah, I'm going to take this piece or I'm going to do that. I also like from this too, going to conferences, and I want to emphasize this for publicists. Conferences are where, of course, people come together, they're meeting in person, a lot of relationship building, but do not miss on, yeah, get all those meetings stacked, especially for someone like you, Jill, who's like, yeah, let me get 20 stories out of this. Yes. I haven't heard
Literally.
back from the reporter side or the editor side, but yes, you're there. Why not?
Yes. I
Yeah,
just
efficient,
Shop Talk Europe, and I'm
efficient.
like,
Ooh,
use this opportunity. People are there to talk.
yes. Okay. So speaking of, what other conferences do you like to go to? What's on your roster?
Oh my gosh, I've become a retail conference nerd because the people keep asking me to moderate, which I
Oh, so now
so
they're
I'm
sucking
going to
you in.
all of
Yeah.
them. I'm going to e-tail, I'm going to
Oh,
Seed Summit. I'm going to we've got, of course, got our own Glossy and Modern Retail Summits, which are
yes,
very valuable, y'all.
yes.
But yeah, I've been doing Shop Talk and gosh, what else? Maybe just those, but
Okay. So those are the main ones. Okay, that's where you can find Jill, everybody. Speaking of like finding you, do you want to have any relationships with publicists? How does that look for you?
oh my gosh, it's so fun. We talked about this today.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
It's good to know, like, who they are. We can have,
yeah.
like, our acquaintances. I said the words today, "Let's not get too chummy," because it's like it's not like I scratch your back, you scratch like, I don't know. I
Yes.
it gets a little much where I hear, like, one of my reporters will be like, "Oh, so and so told me this, but I can't share it. I don't wanna hurt the relationship." And I'm like, "Well, was it off the record? No. Was it on background? No." Well, I'm like, "Then we're telling the story. Like, what is the big secret?"
Oh,
And it's always very touchy, and I'm like, if it's so touchy, like what we don't
we're
we
not
should
friends,
not be in
Jill.
a place where we are that reliant on a PR person or even any individual source.
Mhm,
I'm always like we are kind of our own super.
mhm,
We shouldn't be so reliant on somebody
mhm,
like that. So
mhm.
anyway,
Someone on this podcast recently said, "Oh yeah, when the publicist writes me like, oh great job, so glad we did this piece," he felt it was like we- that we're not like collaborators on a
yeah,
piece. I mean,
I
we
would love
worked
to work with
together,
you.
but it wasn't like a group project that we got done.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
doing my job. You were doing your job.
Yes, and it's so
Thank you for doing your
wild.
job. Yes. What is this?
What is
What is this?
I would love to work with you, and I would love if we could pull off a story on this. I'm like, it's a lot
We,
more work than me
we,
for me to write this thing. But and also, what was I
huh,
going to say? Oh, it doesn't matter. But yeah, stuff like that.
we. Ooh, yeah. Huh.
Somebody just I got a pitch from a this I hope she doesn't listen to this, but like I got a pitch somebody that was going to be in Miami for our
Yeah,
conference.
yeah.
She reached out to me. It's an executive, a founder of a brand and said,
Right.
"I would love to come to your conference." And I was like, "We would love to have you. Would you want to lead this working group actually? We would love to have you and actually participate as a kind of a speaker." And she was like, "Amazing." And I was so happy to have her. She's amazing. And then her PR person out of the blue like emailed me and said, "I saw that my client was part of your event. How did this come to be?" I was like, "It just did." I was like, I guess I owed it you
First
to
of all,
tell you, but I don't really want to tell you.
publicist, why would you put that in email? Why would you put that in email? Because now it's documented that you had to ask the editor in chief
I didn't like
how this
it.
came to be. Where is your client? Why didn't you pick up the phone and ask your client, like, hey, real quick, like, how'd you get this? That's
Yeah,
oh,
I didn't like it.
I really don't like it, Jill, because also waste of time to you. Why is it your job to tell the publicist how their client got to be on the state? What?
I wanted to be like, 'cause I guess she's a more of a go-getter than you are.
Okay, Jill, you said it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
okay, dear. We have to wrap up here because
Get
I'm
all sassy
coming
there.
here into no, but that's bad. And I have not heard an example like that before. Okay. Let us wrap it up here because I have another recording and we got to get going on the things. Okay.
You did good.
So actually, you know what? I'm going to skip the rapid fire questions. I'm going to go to Jill. What can we promote, celebrate, highlight for you?
Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. What? We've got our Glossy podcast, listen to that.
Mhm.
We've got a beauty podcast and just the Glossy podcast, which is fashion focused. Obviously, come to glossy.co and modernretail.co for the latest retail coverage. There's actually a modern retail podcast as well. We've got some events coming up, Beauty and Wellness
Yeah,
Summit in early November. But anyway, all of this info is on our site. You
it
should
is.
check it out and you should be there if you are an industry insider.
Jill Manoff, thank you for being here today. Everybody, this is the editor in chief at Glossy and Modern Retail in the Digiday empire that is. Thank you, Jill. Publicist, please do not ask an editor in chief how your client got something. No,
Thank
no. I've never heard that, Jill. That's a good one.
you.
Oh,
I'm sorry if you're listening.
no, no,
You're
no.
very lovely.
Just embarrassing, embarrassing. Okay. Oh, cringe, cringe, cringe. Jill, thank you so much. You were lovely.
Thank you so much for
Have
having
a
me.
good one, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist. Do you want to pitch our next guest or ask them a specific question? Head over to our website at onepitch.co to learn more about our private networking community for PR pros and apply to join. We'll see you next week, but until then, start great stories.